Have you ever stopped to think that the physical reality we experience every single day might actually be the byproduct of a conscious universal substrate? Well, today's explainer dives into a really fascinating framework called the invariance ontology. It's this incredible space where deep metaphysical philosophy perfectly intersects with the actual mechanics of modern quantum physics.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the global substrate. Second, we'll explore the cosmic feedback loop. Third, we'll get into emanation and epistrophe. And finally, we'll wrap up with the origin of natural law. Starting right off with Section 1, the global substrate.
So the core of today's framework is the invariance ontology. You can kind of think of it as the metaphysical operating system for the cosmos. It tells us that reality isn't just some static object sitting there. It's actually an active, continuous reconciliation between existence and non-existence. It takes these huge philosophical concepts and bridges them directly into the physical mechanics of our universe. To really grasp how this works, the sources use this incredibly elegant metaphor. Imagine the universe's global vacuum as a single, boundless, continuous ocean. This ocean is the world soul. It's completely global, exists purely in time, and is fundamentally aware. Now, the material world, everything around us, is just a wave on that ocean. It's localized, it takes up physical space, and on its own, it's unconscious. Obviously, the wave depends entirely on the ocean just to exist, even though it does have a little bit of local autonomy in how it crashes and folds, right? Now, what's really interesting about this is that the ocean isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. It maps directly onto the electromagnetic zero-point field, or the ZPF. In quantum physics, the ZPF is literally a fluctuating ocean of energy that pervades the entire vacuum of space. It's a continuous, evolving field acting as the actual luminous substrate of reality itself. And this brings us to a bit of a mind-bending realization, honestly. If you look at a single local wave, it seems completely unconscious. But because that wave is intrinsically made out of the ocean, the material state is entirely supported by and composed of this global awareness. A local lack of awareness doesn't somehow separate the wave from the globally aware field that it's completely embedded within. Moving on to Section 2, the cosmic feedback loop.
So, how does this all keep going? Reality is actually maintained by a totally instantaneous self-playing loop. First, the material state acts as a real-time instruction set, or a blueprint. Let's call that phi. Then, the receptive world soul decrypts this blueprint and produces a proportional assertion, which we'll call D. Finally, the harmonization of that blueprint and that active assertion manifests as the physical universe, or psi. Which gives us this really sleek metaphysical formula. Manifestation, meaning the physical reality we interact with every day, is a direct function of the underlying blueprint and the active assertion of the world soul. It is an instantaneous, ongoing dialogue. The material world is literally providing the exact instructions for what the world soul has to assert in order to keep reality stable from one microsecond to the next. Let's just slow down for a second and appreciate the sheer poetry of this idea. The sources describe the world soul as acting like a perfectly tuned instrument, vibrating in response to a harmonic structure. That means the physical universe, with all its matter and energy and complexity, is quite literally the music being played by the world soul as it decodes reality's blueprints. We are living inside a vibrating, living cosmos.
That brings us to Section 3, Emanation and Epistrophe.
Now, you know that music requires tension to produce sound, right? The strings on an instrument have to be pulled tight. Well, as reality emanates outward into all this multiplicity, there has to be a counterpole. So the crucial point here is epistrophe. It means a reversion or return. Mechanically speaking, it is the fundamental longing of the emanated material world to return back to the unity of its source. Reality is suspended perfectly in the dynamic equilibrium between these two opposing poles. Emanation is all about moving away, localizing space, and generating all the beautiful multiplicity we see around us. Epistrophe, on the other hand, is the intense drive to return, letting go of that localized identity to seek unity. Without this precise, constant tension, the entire material world would just instantly fall out of alignment. And this is where the philosophy maps flawlessly onto quantum mechanics. The physical strength of this pull back toward unity, this epistrophe, is represented in physics by Planck's reduced constant, or hbar. This fundamental number isn't just some random metric, it is literally the measurement of the material world's drive to let go of its old deterministic states. And this brilliantly illustrates why things work the way they do.
Because Planck's constant is non-zero, the universe physically cannot freeze into a rigid static block. This mechanical letting go manifests as local stochastic motion, which is what we usually just call quantum randomness. But it's not just random, meaningless noise. It's the material world actively practicing epistrophe, keeping the cosmos in a vibrant, breathing, dynamic equilibrium.
Finally, Section 4, the origin of natural law.
Now, you might be wondering, if reality is driven by a conscious world soul, why is the universe so strictly predictable? The answer is that the world soul doesn't possess human-like free will. It's not micromanaging things. It operates in a highly meditative manner that is purely mechanical and consistent. It flawlessly decrypts the blueprints it is given, without any random divine interventions to break the rules of physics.
Let's see how this builds into our everyday experience. Because of this mechanical consistency, the deterministic natural laws we study in physics and chemistry aren't arbitrary rules imposed from the outside. They are simply the downstream consequences of this inner coherence. The world soul ensures negation and assertion always stay perfectly balanced, which allows the material world to just evolve autonomously through its own natural dynamics.
So what does this all mean for us? It leaves us with a truly profound thought. The world soul bridges quantum fluctuations right into the reality we see. But if the physical universe is really just the music of the world soul, decoding blueprints in real time, is our human consciousness simply reality waking up inside a localized wave, just to listen to its own song? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining this explainer, and keep questioning the nature of your reality.